I turned up to 100.
Yeah, actually, you sound pretty good right now.
Okay.
And the volume is fine too.
Okay, cool.
Okay, never mind. That's too subtle. Let's play this. All right, let's get into it. So we have a Kanna today.
Yep.
I forgot that was a class in this game. We don't see those. We don't see those a lot.
Yeah, I know,
You know, you want to say something?
oh no, I was just saying, yeah, not a very popular class.
Yeah,
It's pretty weak
kind
too,
of a niche, underplayed class. I'm glad you're representing for the few Kannas that exist out there. You know,
This is for all of them.
yeah, this is for you guys, for all the little people. So, what is like the purpose of the Kanna? What is the goal of the Kanna? What have you achieved so far? Give me a little bit of backstory.
So yeah, started playing like I think in the middle of the Awake event last summer. And yeah, it's just the first class I made, and definitely my main. And I'm planning on, yeah, just maining this and just getting stronger, basically.
Mm-hmm. And like content wise, so what level are you right now? You're 240-ish or?
You just hit 235.
Okay.
And yeah, I can duo Damien and Lotus
Yeah.
with one of my friends, and
Mm-hmm. What class are they?
He's also Kanna.
Also Kanna. Okay, nice. Got
Yeah,
that domain coverage
exactly.
on lock, and you can bring anyone into your party and just straight boost them.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, just looking to transition into probably Elucid or yeah, start with Elucid and then hopefully normal Lucid later. Made some pretty big gains yesterday, so haven't tried Easy Lucid since then. But yeah, probably definitely doable, I think, between the two of us.
Okay.
At this point.
Okay, sounds good. And what have you soloed so far?
Solo. I haven't tried to solo Lomian yet, but I'm pretty sure I could do that now. But yeah, I could do CRA, and then any other boss up to Lomian.
So like when it comes to like CPAP, Akechi, Hard Mag.
Oh, I actually haven't tried CPAP yet, but I'm pretty sure I can do CPAP. And then
and Helix.
HMAG, I can just one bind. Yeah, Helix I do every day.
Okay.
That one's pretty.
Yeah, for CPAP, because if you're maining, you know, the sooner you can start doing that one on the weekly. It's a nice crystal. It's not that long of a boss fight if you know what you're doing. But even if you know what you're doing, it can still get disruptive. But you know where to stand, you know where to go, and it's a nice little boss crystal. But of course, that chance of the Pepilatus mark every week, the sooner you can start trying that, because even though the drop rate went up, that doesn't mean that it's gonna just magically appear after like 2 or 3 weeks. It might still take you like 6 months or a year to get it. So
yeah, no, exactly. No, I've duoed it with that same person I play with, but I haven't tried to solo it yet. But
okay.
I think at this point I should be able to.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the way. I think if you can do Helix, then damage-wise you're definitely there. But some runs might be a little bit unlucky, and then you just wait out your timers a little bit when you're dead. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on that just doesn't like you in that boss fight.
Yeah, for real.
So you just boosted the Asphere a little bit with some circulators you had. Sorry, not circulators, but with selector coupons that you had lying around.
Yeah, I did I think it was a sunny Sunday. We got like 20 or 30 or something.
I think it was 30. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 30. And then
there's 20 from Legion Arena. If you haven't gotten those yet.
I have not gotten those yet.
It's just for like X amount of wins.
Couple days in a row.
There's like a cumulative win thing. I think it's the lowest one of cumulative win. I think it's 20 wins, maybe 30, something like that. That can get you another stack of 20 of those.
I don't think I've won a single Legion Arena yet.
Well, as long as you keep losing, eventually you'll get against people who are very... Did you do it since the last change? Because they made Kanna's quite a bit stronger, and if Kanna's your main...
Oh, did they really? Okay.
Yeah, apparently their basic attack was bugged and wasn't working appropriately, so they made the basic attack go off now, and Kanna's got quite a bit stronger. So if you're relying on the Kanna a lot, since you're main, you might be able to win some now.
Yeah. No, I should definitely win some. I was looking at like a tier list earlier or something, and then yeah, they just said Kanna was like the worst by miles and miles.
Yeah, we probably have to update. That was from yeah, Maple Sea. They were really bad. I guess they didn't fix it in Maple Sea at all, but for GMS they fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Apparently they're like A rank now, so
trying that out more.
Okay, that's good. And then the other storylines, I guess, but you're not at Celis yet. But like the Yam Yam Island, Reverse City, you've done those for the extra symbols.
Yeah, done both of those.
And what have you bought from the store now, and what are you looking at to buy in the store?
In which store?
The Awake Shop, like specifically.
Oh, in the Awake Shop.
Maybe with mesos, maybe with coins.
I've bought. I
usually I don't focus on that too much, but like
skill.
we're 1 week away from the end, so.
Yeah. Bought a bunch of flames. Bought a bunch of cubes. What else did I buy? I bought the damage skin. Cool number one. What else? Yeah, that's basically it. I'm not really like looking at anything in particular right now. Or I bought the 15-star scroll. That was from Mesos.
Did you buy the nodes?
The experience nodes, yeah.
And the regular ones?
The normal nodes yet, though.
Okay. That's usually when you're like still on the build up, especially because if you level very quickly, you get a lot of slots available to you very quickly, and then disproportionately all of your nodes might be a little bit lower leveled as a result. So just buying out nodes is typically a very good thing until your boost nodes are all like at least in the early 20s. You can always still definitely benefit from buying nodes. And even then, because even if you end up wanting to play another character, if you have still something to max in this character and you can use untradeable nodes, then you can just get the nodes that are tradable and just start storing them in storage and maybe move them to another character if you want to. So there's always good value in those.
Okay, yeah. Then I'll probably buy all the packages then, because I haven't bought any nodes yet.
Yeah, I think there's the singular ones in the lower tier shop and then packages in the higher tier, I believe. I think they're the same per same unit price.
Is it worth it, do you think, to buy the mystery Nodestone box or not so much?
Is that the one that gives 5 or?
Just gives more or 2 or more, but it's 230 coins as opposed to 70.
230 for 2 or more, and then 70 per.
Yes.
I buy out the individual ones first, and then if you have points left over at the end and you don't really have useful other things to buy, then I would go for some boxes.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Are you doing the extra training? What is it? The
intensive training.
Intensive training. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I get my 600 tomorrow, so.
Okay.
It'll be a nice little boost.
Oh, that's the 5 one.
Yes.
And then at 10 you get 1,000. Yeah, I think I missed today as well. But I mean, there's enough days you can miss a few, so.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's a little bit forgiving. Okay, so that's event stuff. All right. Any other temporary stuff we need to get out of the way? I guess not. Oh yeah, like burning wise, what have you burned? Are you burning?
I burned a Wild Hunter for Legion, and then I burned Demon Slayer for the Link.
Okay.
I got that one to 210. Yeah.
I guess that gets us into Legions. Do you have any like specific long-term plans for Legion, or are you just like one step at a time?
I'm kind of just doing one step at a time, but do you have any advice as to which characters I should make, or like any things I'm missing? I think I should hit 4K in the next 2 characters I make.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, just wondering if there's any thing you see that I'm missing.
Have you? Oh, this is not at all what I wanted to open up. Have you seen the links command that I have?
Yeah, I have. I reference that a lot, actually.
And if you go from the top, what do you see that you don't have yet? I'll look through your characters real quick. Do you have all the experience ones, like the? It used to be the trifecta, but now it's the, I guess what, quadrifecta with the with the 0 in there.
Yeah. Wait, which other ones give you XP?
Aaron, Evan, Mercedes,
I don't
0.
have either of those. Aaron, Evan, Mercedes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have Mercedes and 0. I don't have Evan or.
Evan is really good.
Okay, yeah.
Evan extends the duration of the rune. So that makes the experience that you get from the rune last way longer. And then when you have Sunny Sundays or haste events where the runes get even stronger, it stacks with that. So that's really good.
Okay, for sure.
Like Sunny Sundays is 100% extra experience during the rune, so that's really nice. And then during Sunny Sundays, usually what they do is they reduce the cooldown from 15 minutes down to 10, so you have more uptime on runes. So that combined makes it really, really nice. And then the Aaron makes those combo orbs way more. So classes that specifically kill monsters one at a time and build combo fast will benefit from it more. But in general, just low-level characters, all of those combo orbs will give you like insane amounts of experience. At lower levels, it just walking into an orb, even like the first level orb gives you like 60% or something.
Oh wow.
It's kind of ridiculous very early on. But yeah, some classes that have giant AoEs and kill more monsters at a time will get a little bit multi-kill bonus, and then that will like compensate for the loss in combo bonus. But characters that kill everything separately build combos super fast and get a lot of combo orbs, and it does scale. It scales to the base experience of the monsters in the map. So as you're getting higher and higher level and everything, you have so many experience sources that as a you know, as a part of the total experience that you get, is not as big of a part. But, you know, walking in, if you have 3 or 4 of those orbs because you've been blowing down the whole map, just walking into those is still a decent chunk of experience. So I think it's always useful because the stronger you get, your kill potential isn't really going to get into any trouble by missing one link that gives you a little bit of damage. But if you can replace it with one that gives you extra EXP, you'll just level up faster as a whole. So.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I was looking at their Legion, and that the damage absorbs kind of useless, looking like, for Evan.
Oh, for Aaron and Evan, yeah, it's completely useless,
okay,
for sure.
Both,
yeah. Mainly just for Link's skill, not for the Legion part.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, other than that, mechanic is okay. The missing goes into the Link skill side, right? The I don't know if you have that one, the Spirit of Freedom. How many of those do you have?
Yeah, I just got the. Actually just trained a mechanic to 140.
Okay.
But yeah, is that Spirit of, what is it? Spirit of something? Spirit of Freedom.
Spirit
is
of
that
Freedom.
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so as a Kanna, you might not die as much as other people because your Haku just fucking god modes you every now and then.
Yeah.
Most people can actually die to things, and then when you respawn, Spirit of Freedom makes you invincible for X amount of seconds, depending on the level of Spirit of Freedom. And you can stack it up to level 8, so then you can have 8 seconds of invincibility when you respawn, which you can imagine like a longer boss fight, shorter boss fights even with like HMAG. You've already been able to do that without that, but like if you respawn in the mist or you're out of the blue, you have to walk towards him, you're half HP by the time you get to him, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no.
You can immune all of that. For C-Val, if you spawn into a tail, you know, the silly things like that. But like if you're going to be doing CPAP, if you ever die, sometimes you like rage respawn during the lasers touching, and then the lasers can touch again in the same animation and kill you again. But then this skill will, you know, prevent a lot of deaths. Yeah, if you ever make any mistakes like that.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been there on pretty much all those bosses you mentioned.
For Lucid, for example, it could be very useful. If you die and there's a lot of golems, you could just you can respawn, just teleport through the golems and just get to the middle again without dying, and then just wail on her again. You don't have to, you know, fight your way through all of the golem. That's kind of useful.
So I don't know like any Lucid mechanics. Like, what do those golems do? I've tried Elucid once, and I was dying to golems. I didn't know what they were doing though.
Yeah, so when they float over your head, basically when they land on you or near you, they tick you for about 30%. And then if you're standing in them or like super close to them, they tick you for 70. So if they land on you, right on top of you, they tick you for 30 and 70, which means if you have auto heal or some kind of regeneration thing, sometimes you can survive if it lands right on top of you. But if you keep standing where it is for a little bit too long, then you die like right after. So you have to respond very quickly to them. And if you have knockback resistance, you will get knocked back. If you don't have it, you will get knocked back, but you can get pushed into the hitbox of another one, you know, or if another one drops, you just get like ping-ponged around, or pinball around. So sometimes that could work at your benefit if there's only one golem dropping, but if there's multiple dropping, then it can actually be worse, and then having the knockback resistance can actually be a lot better so that you can do more controlled movement. Maybe even like pop Exorcist Charm and then teleport out of it so you don't get knocked down or something. Yeah, that's basically what they do. And they have limited amount of damage they can take per line of damage. So characters with more lines of damage have like a superior way of clearing the golems. And then the main thing is if you try to pass through a golem, you take like that full chunk of damage. So you just die basically.
Okay.
And their hitbox extends pretty high up as well. You can just like float over them. You have to go almost near the edge of the top edge of the map to be able to not take physical damage floating over them. There's only a few classes that can do that.
So I can't teleport through them, right? I just take a bunch of damage.
Yeah. I think with easy, they might not deal enough damage to kill you. But the reason you would have to is because of the dragon that comes from the side. And then for the dragon, you either... So you do have some stuff in your kit that can allow you to stay over the dragon. So you have your... Oh god, what is it called? Is it Shikigami Charm? The one that makes you fly up?
That is... Yeah, Shikigami Charm, and then you can, like, Orochi...
Yeah, Orochi. Yeah, and then Exorcist maybe even before you land. The problem with that, though, is that it goes a little bit sideways, right? It doesn't go straight up. So if you use it and then a golem spawns underneath you, even though it's like completely below you, you can't even see it because of the breath. You could still die because the hitbox is so high for the golem. So it's it's safer to either use Ethereal Form or your new full map iframe, or actually the new map iframe probably isn't strong enough. But maybe if you pop it, you can teleport once or twice through the golems. You know, something like that where you do a combination. To make yourself immune for a little bit. But the safest is to go to the corners and stand behind where the dragon is so that the breath doesn't hit you. But there's also the cool interaction where Lucid can teleport you through the map, and sometimes she does it while the dragon is going on, and she just teleports you into the dragon breath anyway, even though you just went through all the trouble to get to the sides. And you're like yelling at your teammate like left, and you manage to get through the golems, and you manage to get there, and you're like, yes! And then you just get teleported into the breath and you still die. Like all of these beautiful interactions are possible, so yeah.
Yeah, no, some cool mechanics, sounds like.
Yeah, you want to make sure that the base stuff that is dodgeable doesn't kill you, so that if some of that groovy shit happens and it does kill you, you don't get into any kind of trouble with with your lives that you have left and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She has a bunch of HP bars that interact with a cleanse mechanic. So every time you finish one of her HP bars, and she has 11 of them. It says times 10, but when that timer runs out, she has one last one. So she has 11 bars. And then every time you finish one, you get a cleanse stack, and there are 2 statues on the side that keep track of how many you have. There's like little gems in the statues on the bottom, and they light up if you have a stack of cleanse available. And they can only stack up to 3 at a time. So if you're killing it super, super quickly, you'll basically burn some cleanses, but that won't be any trouble because you don't need to cleanse that quickly. But if you're in a more struggle state and you're a slower party, you want to make sure that you don't cleanse too quickly, so that you get full use of the cleanses, but also that you don't cleanse too late, because then the map effect goes off. And depending on what phase of Lucid it is, it has a different map effect. So in effect, map effect 1 is basically that just like a billion little butterflies just spawn and just swarm everyone basically until they're dead, or for 5 seconds, whichever comes close. But unless you have some kind of iframes or some amazing dodging skills, you just die to that basically. And for phase 2, it's what people refer to as a Toho, where basically she goes into like a bullet hell mode. She becomes untargetable, and she just throws little pink blobs everywhere, and you just have to dodge all of them for a little bit. It's not too long, and it's not too hard. There's like a few different patterns. Some are pretty simple. In general, just going to the top middle of the map for that one is the easiest. You just float around there, and you just move a little bit left to right to make sure you don't get hit, and that's fine. The phase 1, but both of these are indicated by how many butterflies are in the background of the map. And as she gets enraged and as she performs more attacks, you'll see more and more butterflies on the map, and their color will change and look more and more aggressive. And when you literally see just nothing but butterflies in the background, it's like, okay, we need to cleanse. So then you need to go to the statue and hold the NPC chat until the bar is full. Basically like Damien, right? Like the cleansing in Damien. And then you will consume one of the cleanses, and you will see the background clear up from all the butterflies. And then, clear skies, and then you can go ahead a little bit. So typically if you see it's pretty full, you have enough cleanses and someone dies, then you get respawned to the side, and then you basically spawn on top of the thing, so you can just call out a cleanse. Just for communication's sake, it's good to call out if you're cleansing, so you don't both cleanse, especially if you don't know how you're going to do with, the amount of cleanses you have, so that you don't waste 2 cleanses at once, because if both of you do it, then it will consume 2 of it.
Gotcha. And you said you had 3 cleanses, right, total?
Well, so you get 1 per bar, so in phase 1 you can get 11, and in phase 2 you can get 11 as well.
Okay.
But you can only hold up to 3 at once. So let's say the bar is almost empty, there's a bunch of butterflies, and you already have 3. There's no point in not using it at that point, because you're getting it back immediately. And if you don't use it then, you're going to lose it anyway, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty situational, but yeah. You'll probably run into, like, oh, we were a little bit too late now, and then you just always kind of err on the side of caution and look for some kind of indicators in the background where, okay, if I see at least 4 of them here, and they're, like, turning purple, then now we're in the danger zone.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, that doesn't sound...
Yeah,
too bad.
it's all of that combined, and then she does sickles. And
those don't one-shot you, right? They just kind of do.
Definitely not an easy. No, they do. Well,
Okay.
they can stack together. There can be a bunch of them on top of each other, so you want to be careful to. But I think you can teleport through them. But it depends if they're small or if they're big. What kind of direction they're going. And then she also does bombs, which you want to group up in and put a ping barrier, so that you can tank the damage together and take reduced damage.
Okay, so you can't dodge those bombs?
You could iframe, but the thing with bombs is that if you use a legitimate iframe and the bomb doesn't have a target to go off on, and a team member is close, it'll jump to the team member and they will get the new bomb, and then you can keep like ping ponging the balls back and forth. If it does go off and it kills you, someone else gets a bomb as well. If it goes off and it doesn't kill you, then nothing happens. So, since Ethereal Form is technically not an iframe, but just like a 99% damage reduction thing, you could Ethereal Form it, and it'll go off, and it'll explode on you, not kill you, and then it'll be gone. But if you use the full map Yaksha thing instead to iframe it, then your teammate is close enough, he'll get a bomb instead. But if he's on the other side of the map, he won't get one. There's like a range, basically.
So if I use Blossom Barrier, it should...
Yeah, typically you're both just in the middle, just wailing on her because you want to get your big blue circle to like flow through her, right? Because that's a crazy hitbox. You basically stand together, you call out bomb, and then you have at least 1 pink barrier out, and you just stand in it and stand together. So you chunk the bomb damage together, and so that you're in the barrier, and you should be fine.
Okay, for sure.
Healing familiar will help a lot, but we'll get into familiars in a little bit. And as you get more, comfortable with your HP management and all of that, then you can go harder into damage.
Gotcha.
I think easy has like half the HP of normal, and everything does quite a bit less damage percentage. So you want to focus more on just trying to dodge things rather than, just like killing the boss, because that's not really valuable. You want to learn the mechanics and engage with the mechanics, so that once you get to normal, you're used to dodging things, because you'll have to dodge way more. Everything hits you way harder.
Does easy drop anything useful or not so much? It's just kind of to practice.
Very low chance of soul shards and the lucid droplets. You can drop them, but it's a pretty low chance.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's mainly just to get lucid to practice so you can start doing normal. What if you're next to someone, but one of you iframes? Yeah, so if you use a legitimate iframe and you dodge the bomb explosion, someone else is near you, they will get the bomb. And then it does start back up with the full timer. So usually a bomb is 10 seconds, but a lot of times when you get one the first time, it'll be like 4, 3, 2 seconds, something like that. So you have to respond pretty quickly to the initial bomb. If it does jump to someone, then usually you have like quite a while to respond to it. But as you can imagine, when multiple of these things happen at the same time, or like both sickles happen and the bomb, and maybe there's a bunch of golems going around, it can get pretty hectical pretty quickly. And the thing with golems is that it can snowball out of control. If you leave them be for a little bit too long, before you know it, there's like... but yeah, for you guys, if you're both Kannas, of course, if you guys can survive, go up, just go straight up into the air, or can use your ethereal form. You might be able to scum that with easy. With normal, typically you go for parties that are a little bit divided in 1 or 2 people are like fully support, and support for normal means golem clear / cleansing / callouts and stuff. So you can have something like a Cannoneer or even a Thunderbreaker or Luminous or an Ice Lightning Mage that have like a lot of lines, and they can help clear the golems faster. That's those classes have good value there. But if both of them iframe, if you both iframe and you're both immune, then the bomb has no targets and will fizzle. Okay, that all makes sense for Lucid?
Yeah, no,
Yep.
Definitely. That was a good explanation for sure.
Yep. Phase 2 is very similar. The golems will break the platforms when they land. So you want the and I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know if you have it. The Mihal Link skill for knockback resistance. Do you have that one?
I do not.
That one's gonna be very useful because you will just get like flung across the map. And let's say she's doing sickles on one side, and then you get, the golem lands at the wrong time, and you'll just get pushed, like you get flown right through those sickles and die. Whereas if you just have knockback resistance, you just, you teleport to the left, or you just fall down to the next platform. It's whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, so when the golem lands, it just launches you.
It breaks your platform and gives you like a pretty hard knockback. Yeah, it's almost like the swipe in Ursus, kind of that magnitude. Gotcha. Of like, yeah. The other thing in the easier forms is if in the second phase there's no bottom of the map, so you can fall down. You can kind of use that to like dodge attacks, like if there are laser attacks or we haven't talked about those. There's lasers, and she has a laser attack and she has a touch attack. And touch is a steady pattern where she starts in the middle of the map and then floats around and makes like 2 circles through the map. You don't want to hit her at all, so either you stay in the middle, a little bit to the right of the middle platform, so the initial spawn doesn't hit you, but then you just stay in the middle and she'll just float around you and it's fine. But again, remember, the golem could also come and break the platform during the pattern and then maybe make you fall down, so you always want to be wary of that. Or you just stay on the extremities, like any of the 4 corners of the map, and she doesn't reach that far in her circular pattern, so that's fine. For the lasers, she will just be shooting giant fucking diagonal lasers. Sometimes they're vertical, horizontal, or any diagonal. They could be like any but it's a straight line, but it could be any angle. And she shoots like, I don't know, maybe like 12 of them or something. What I like to do is start by going to the top right corner of the map as soon as I see that she's doing lasers. So the animation is pretty clear. It's pretty highly telegraphed for both touch and laser, where she starts like shining and then disappears basically. For lasers, you'll see a bright pink vertical line through the map, like shoot like a laser. As she does that, for touch, it doesn't happen. So that's how you can tell the difference between the two. And if she's doing a laser, you'll see her appear in the back of the map, just shining in pink and shooting the lasers out from the back of the map. But of course, you don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on dodging the lasers. So as soon as you see the lasers, I like to go to the top right of the map and then just slowly make my way down diagonally through the map. And the key is not to move too fast, because the quicker you move, the lasers have a certain interval with which they get shot and with which they hit. They don't hit immediately. It's like a line through you, and then it kind of like blasts and does the actual damage. So just because you see the laser on you doesn't mean you take damage, but it means that if you don't move, you're going to take damage. So the faster you move, the more distance will be between the lasers, and the more area they will cover, and as a result, the less space you will have to be safe. Whereas if you move more in like stutter step, a more controlled manner, the lasers will be stacking over each other, and you actually will have more safe room to go to. So if you start in a corner of the map and then work your way diagonally through the other side, if you don't move too quickly, by the time you get to the other side of the corner, the phase is already over, and you weren't really in any danger. But
okay, so it's kind of like this eval tails.
Yeah. If you panic, then they're everywhere, and then and then you're dead, and there's no way to go. It's kind of like the C-Vals, but then they're not just on the ground; they're like everywhere because it's a diagonal line. Yeah, and once you get used to like the interval between them showing up and them hitting, you'll find that there's actually a lot of outplayability that you have with the laser thing, using your up jumps.
Phase 2, is there a lot of like downtime where you're just not really hitting her? You're just kind of dodging stuff.
Yeah, so during the touch and the laser, you can't target her at all. And if you ever get to a Toho when you don't cleanse in time, then you won't be able to hit her at all. But the main thing with Phase 2 is that she flies around freely.
Okay.
The way that you can tell, because you're going to be binding, the way that you can tell if she's bound or not is her body will still move, but her wings won't flap, and her her limbs inside of her body will just be completely static. And that's how you can see that she is bound. But she will still move and fly around. So it's very tricky for like a Night Lord, for example, to confirm his bursts in phase 2 with spread throw and everything, because she could just fly out of it and you'll have to chase her. So.
Oh yeah.
That's why you're looking. Yeah, typically when you're doing like hard lucid, but we're like getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But you're looking for a party that's more balanced between DPS and DPM, so that you can burst through phase 1 and not have to worry about the golems too much and the dragons too much, and then have enough DPM to get through phase 2 without having to rely on lucky binds, and then get into phase 3 with everyone there, so that you can blow her up again then. But there's no phase 3 in easy or normal, so that's not a problem just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, phase 3 is just she spawns in the middle of the map, and then again, because of the golems, right? The golems destroy platforms every 2 minutes, so it's good to know the timer of which platforms are going to break, so you don't stand on a breaking platform during your burst, because then you can lose a lot of your DPS, and you have to break her 11 bars of phase 3 in the 40 seconds timer that you have for that. If you can't do that, then the whole run is a bust.
That's for hard, right?
Yeah, that's only for hard. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What the fuck was that? Weird sound. Okay. Oh, it's just my neighbor. Okay. Yeah, I think that explains all of Lucid. Oh yeah. In the end, you have the box, right? So you can just safely put all your drop rate gear on, your coupons and everything. So there's no real risk of not getting your drop rate in. So that's nice for Lucid. For all the other bosses, it's typically very stressful at the end if you want to change the drop rate gear and get your coupons and make sure your holy symbol and respawn and make sure you have to hit it, so you get any drops and stuff like that. Which maybe earlier Lotus and Damien runs can be kind of panicky, but yeah, for Lucid,
very panicky back then. Beyond my last life.
Yeah,
to pop my drop coupon and stuff. Yeah. So
for Lucid, you don't have that problem. Thank God. You're just nice and quiet and. If you do use certain skills that are summons, and you do get into the last, they can automatically pop the box though.
Okay.
So like your circle of suppression.
They like kind of TP from.
Yeah. As long as as long as the duration takes over, so circle of suppression and your Sengoku force, like those things can open the box immediately. It's not a.
Gotcha.
If you're doing hard or something, it's not like the end of the world, because you want to confirm the kill over getting a soul shard or a flame or something. Because in the end, the main thing you're there for is the arcane stuff, and the arcane stuff isn't affected by drop rate anyway. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So just as a general piece of information, so like Papalatus Mark, any of the pitch boss armors, equips, any Absolab stuff, and any arcane stuff are all, and then Helix, and I think reinforced. So reinforced and superior stuff are all not affected by drop rate.
Oh, really? Okay. I think I heard that one time, but I would always equip my drop rate anyways.
Yeah, many of these bosses drop some other things that could be useful. You can get more flames, more soul shards, more cubes. So there's still value in them. But just so you know that, if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to like panic that it's like, oh no. Like that's someone has to get kicked from the run because they opened the box prematurely or something. It's like, okay, just don't do that next time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You kick them down in the loot rotation or something, but you don't have to, you don't have to like cancel them on social media just yet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of Lucid information, but I think that elucidated. No, okay, never mind. I don't make that joke. Okay, hopefully that made that a little bit more clear. I guess we can start from the bottom, work our way up. So you're maining. Does that mean you're going for 6 boost nodes? Because I see you have 2 other leveled up.
Wait, 6 boost nodes. Oh, on my thing. My nodes are really scuffed.
Okay.
Because I think that the trios are Tengu, Shiki, and Boss, and then Yozume, Exorcist, and Kishin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm still working on getting all those. But yeah, I like earlier before I knew about like the perfect nodes and stuff, I just was hard leveling my Tengu and my Shikigami.
Yeah, I see that you have those on 4.
Maxed, and then the rest are not.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And as long as the skill that's the top skill, or like, you know, the first mentioned skill, as long as that one is or I guess third mentioned, top visible, or on the left side of your of your boost node, as long as that skill is one that you eventually want to max, it doesn't really matter, because you'll just open a bunch of nodes in the, you know, until then anyway, and then you could just redo them. You know how that works, right? You can use the higher level ones just to level up a new one, and then you transfer. Yeah, exactly. So that's all fine. So as a main Kanna, what some people do is they end up, well, what most people do, like later on in the game, they end up with 6 boost nodes, because they also want to level up Vanquisher Charm and Shikigami, not Shikigami, sorry, Vanquisher Charm and Doppelganger.
Oh, okay.
Doppelganger when boosted is a huge amount of damage, especially also in Lucid. If you're standing in the middle, you just blow up the golems next to you. That's very useful because it just shoots out both ends. And just Vanquisher Charm, you know, for charging your domain, right? During domain charge, boosted Vanquisher Charm, and also you don't really have hyper skills to do anything useful, really. So you do want to boost the Vanquisher Charm later, and then use the Vanquisher Charm while you're boosting domain as part of your burst, basically.
Yeah, no, it definitely hits a ton of lines.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, not that much damage yet, because I don't have a single...
Yeah, so, but that's fine for now. But that's more when you're, you know, when you start doing the actual damage. And if you're, you know, rerunning 2 Kannas and you're trying to get some stuff done, then, you know, more weight falls on your shoulders than just like, oh, I'm putting you know, I'm binding in domain, by the way, and then that's just what you're doing. If you're actually doing the damage, then, you know, that is something to consider and look into. But yeah, it's mainly when you get like a lot of slots for boost nodes, which, you know, you're getting a decent amount now. You know, once you get to 250 or like 245 and you can buy 1 or 2 extra, you do have a lot of room to work with, so...
Yeah, I think I'm planning on buying 1 more just because I think with the will skill introduction, yeah, I need 1 more, so I'll probably drop however much it is, like 200 or something. Because, yeah, I level pretty slowly. I don't grind too much. I just mostly do like dailies, and then probably when another event comes around, I'll level up. Like I hope the Celestial event comes back. I didn't take full advantage. I
wouldn't like hold my breath until that one comes back.
No, probably not.
It doesn't seem very likely.
That was pretty OP.
Yeah, pretty busted for sure.
Yeah.
So matrix wise, one thing that's kind of fun. So like, yeah, so like you have your iframe that's still available, your burst and the goddess blessing. That's a lot of final damage, right? And that combined with what is it, Princess Sakuno's blessing or something?
Yeah, that one.
And you also, I think you get a decent amount from decent combat orders, if I'm not mistaken. Where my Kanna's in the chat.
What does that one do? Combat orders?
Yeah, it increases the level of all your passive force job skills by 1 level over the cap.
Oh, really?
So it makes your Haku buff more and stuff like that. It can be pretty useful. But like not as your first 5 nodes or something, obviously, but like at this point, it's something to start considering throwing in there. You know, depending on what situation you're in.
I heard the mana overload one is good too.
Yep, final damage, but that one is a bit trickier, right? Because it for other characters it just consumes more mana, but since you don't have mana, it actually consumes HP. So it can hinder your survivability if you're just like starting to try a new boss. So that is something you can introduce. And it does give final damage, which is great, of course. But you want to be careful with that because it's a little bit of a double-edged blade. But yeah, final damage, you know, if you know what you're doing, your survivability is fine, then more final damage is, of course, pretty damn nice. Yeah, and then the Ethereal Form has good uses, of course, but you know about that one. Yeah, other than that, it seems fine. But yeah, definitely keep your eyes open for those perfect trinodes. Do you have some kind of way that you're keeping track of Because I guess for now you're just saving because you want to max some things, right? Get that 20 IED extra in there for the bossing.
Yeah. Well, actually, this morning I was opening a bunch of the Tengu nodes, but I literally wasted so many points. I was pretty upset.
Were you specifically crafting Tengu ones?
Yeah, because I wanted a Tengu boss Shikigami, but I didn't realize I already have a boss Tengu Shikigami one, so I'm gonna have to disenchant that one.
Tengu. Well, you can have both of those, right?
Wait, let me see.
You mean the one that's level 9 here in the picture?
Yeah, so the level 9 one is good.
Yeah.
But I'll probably disenchant that one just because I don't really have that many other boss nodes. But I already have a level 14, or no, a level 11 Tengu one with a ton of other Tengus that I can consume and level it up with.
But why would you disenchant the level 9 boss?
Because I'm looking for a Tengu with boss and Shiki and
Well, so since there are so many skills that you want and so many that are good, there are a lot of combinations that will end up being really, really good for you. So one thing I would advise, if you're trying to find certain nodes, what I would do is craft node stones instead of crafting specific boost nodes. Have you ever done?
How do I craft node stones?
So if you go into if you talk to the NPC, the node Deuterino. What is it, Node Master or something? I don't know his fucking name.
Let me go over there real quick. Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, whichever their name is. And then you go to Node Crafting, and then right above the Node Crafting is an option to click Node Stones. Do you see that?
Definitely do not see that. Wait, where is it? under Node Crafting. Oh, craft Nodestone.
Node crafting? Yeah, craft Nodestone. Right
it's only 35 node shards? What?
Yes, it's only 35 shards, and you have so many options and so many boost nodes that you can use. Plus, you also have a good chance of skill nodes and of whatever. The return on those is really, really good in your situation, because eventually, since you're maining it, you're going to go for 6 boost nodes. You have all the skill nodes still to level. The only thing that would be like a waste is if you get domain, but you can extract domain, and then you get more shards back anyway, so that's a net gain as well. I would just do that instead with all of your shards that you have.
Yeah.
And then you just...
I would have done that.
It's okay. It's okay. We're here to not to feel bad about like mistakes maybe that you made in the past, but just to, you know, make sure that here on forward we're making better choices, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Or at least that you know your choices, so you can do whatever, you know, is better informed decision for yourself. So what this will do is you basically just get a whole pages and pages of boost nodes. And I would implore you just, you know, unless the top skill is one of those 6, is not one of those, 6, 7, 8. So it would be 9 skills theoretically, I guess, that you end up going for. If it's not one of those 9, then you just get rid of them. But all 9 I would all keep until you can find the perfect like set of combinations that makes everything work. And where they fit together exactly, the only 2 that it kind of matters where they go would be Doppelganger and Vanquisher, because those are only useful for bossing. So those 2 you want to have together side by side with whichever third, preferably not a third skill that is one of the 6. Some people go for, I don't think anyone goes for Orochi. I think people go for the nine-tail fox, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's like the only, you don't want to get Night Ghost Guide, you don't want to get the other ones. So if you have those 2, you can use those and like keep them aside. But then the other ones, it could be a pure mix and match of everything. It doesn't have to be like the same 3, because you're always going to be equipping those 4 anyway. So whatever configuration you get there is fine. And,
okay, yeah.
So with that in mind, though, that does probably mean that you'll end up extracting whichever 2 are the lowest. So I guess that'd be like the level 6 and the level 9, probably. But 9 and 11 is pretty close. So if you have like the 11 with Vanquisher Charm, for example, if you end up not using that one, you might end up extracting that one. But I think the most important thing is that you don't level them too far beyond finding that set of 6 total boost nodes now. Because once you start extracting at a higher level, the rate of return is really bad for the shards.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna keep them here for a while and just keep collecting.
Suko uses Yosuzume on his bossing node. What does he use as his 6th mobbing one then? Which skill do you even have left? Not Night Ghost. Ninetail? And then Yosu for his... Yeah, is that so that his... Well, no, because does Yosuzume help you trigger Night Ghost Guide more when you're mobbing? Because it's less likely to one-shot? Oh, he uses it on his bossing so that his Yosuzume doesn't one-shot as much so that he can help it with a Night Ghost Guide, probably. Yeah, but that's because he's ridiculously strong.
Yeah, I probably won't ever be that strong at any point in time, I would think.
He had like 260 build to drop on black cubes to try to go for 33 magic attack on the emblem. You know, that level of strong.
Yeah, that kind of, yeah.
Because I think if he boosts, if he Yosuzume boosts while training, then his Yosuzume can one-shot, and then you lose the Night Ghost guy triggers, right? And then you lose Kishin uptime, and then your rates go down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why he would move them to the bossing. I don't think you're at that risk, though, because you have to be really fucking strong for that to become a thing.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty good on that.
Yeah. Okay, but that clarifies the matrix quite a bit more.
Yeah, no, definitely.
About the skills to go for. Yeah, so, yeah, it'll just be a thing where I don't know. There's like a thing for Ho Young. There's like a thing for Ho Young skills. You could probably use about the same thing, but then just for Kanna if you have that many to do. Because Ho Young needs to like boost everything as well, so they get a bunch of boost nodes. And someone made this thing where you can basically put in which ones you have, and it's easier to like keep track of what you still need and what you're still looking for. The problem is like the earlier you lock into, okay, I want to use these 3, and then you find one more, and then the amount of node combinations that are left for the last one are like non-existent. So the sooner you lock in, the harder it becomes to find your perfect combination of 6. Whereas if you keep the options open in the beginning, and then you have more puzzle pieces to work with and more options to fix them together. So I guess you could, I'll just link this to you. I guess you could just use this and just either like copy, like save a copy and then just change the names and then it'll work for you, right?
Yeah. No, that should be good. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like they're also confused on the third trio. But yeah, no, I think there's a bunch of options for that, so.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we looked at the Legion links. Oh, yeah, I didn't look at the but that's the matrix set, and we talked about the Nodestone, so that's gonna be nice, and then you don't have to worry about like which ones you're making, and also you won't be like over making on one, right, and then maybe even going over 25 or something. If you just it'll be like a little bit slower at first because you're like not directly. There's definitely an argument, for example, to craft domains first and then do that rather than starting immediately, because then your domain will level up only as quickly as the rest, whereas you want domain to level way faster. So in fact, you have domain max first, like that's definitely not a problem there. You would eventually do that anyway. Links and Legion wise, so we talked about some characters to level up, right?
Yeah.
Devin and Aaron for sure. Which other ones? If you look at this, so I'm gonna re-equate myself. Well, the other things we're looking at is things like crit rates. Do you have a Night Lord and a Marksman?
I do not have a Marksman, but I have a Night Lord right now. I think that gives me 3%.
Yep.
Because he's only 140, but
yeah, Marksman does the same.
I have 100% crit when I right now. But yeah.
The main thing is also, just like with the Evan and the Aaron, the main thing is that you will, all the other characters you make, crit rate is super important for new characters. It feels weird because new characters are just, well, You're like, well, they just need stat, right? They just need range. But the thing is, critical damage is an insane amount of damage on any character. On a new character, it's disproportionately huge. The problem though with new characters is that typically they have low crit rate, so the critical damage doesn't go through. But if you can get the crit rate on a new character at 100% through all of the link skills, through your Legion and through like the boosting, they will be insanely strong early on. And how much stronger they get there will increase their experience gain more than using more experience coupons or like trying to put it into bonus experience in your Legion or something. Just having the kill speed go up will reflect in way more critical rate. It's nuts.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure.
So yeah, so I'm not necessarily looking at like what is the order to make your links in your Legion to make your Kanna stronger, but more to make your Legion level up faster, because a higher leveled up and bigger Legion will make your Kanna faster. It seems like a detour, but it gets you to the finish line faster, basically.
No, that definitely makes sense.
So crit rate. So after the experience ones, crit rate, crit damage, and then whatever is just percentage damage. Those are the huge ones. So you have the DA, you have the arc. These are all very solid. You have your Kanna, of course, which helps you. The kinesis for the crit damage. Again, that one helps most when you have crit rate. So marksman would be one to consider. Many people not a huge fan of marksman. Could be a good mega burn candidate when that comes close.
Yeah, no, that should be a good one, because that's 3% crit.
Yeah, and also, in the beginning when you do want to prioritize the crit rate, it also has the Archer Explorer link for up to 10% on top of that. If you link all three.
For which one?
For the Explorer Archers.
Oh, what's their link?
It's level up to level 2 per, and then stacks up to 6. And then I think it gives you 10% critical rate and chance to add monsters to the monster collection or something. But it's mainly between that one and Phantom and Beast Tamer, and having the Night Lord and the Marksman in your Legion. You're basically just adding like 40% crit rate to any new character you make, or even more, like 45%, which is nuts, because every new character just rolls right out the factory and just like starts hitting like a truck immediately.
Yeah, no, that's really big.
Yep.
I didn't even realize what their Explorer link skill was, because I have the Thief one and the Wizard one.
Yep.
Or the Mage one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah,
the Warrior one is like
really well.
heals you sometimes. It's a little bit underwhelming.
Oh,
yeah. The Archer one. Well, yeah, that's what the last thing they did is that some characters were, I think, a little bit underplayed because nobody would make him for Links and Legion because they were just kind of like, eh. But now they made every character to have at least, like, the only time a character isn't useful is if you're a specific class and the other class ends up having the exact opposite Legion grid and a link skill that you happen to not use, but it's like very niche. It's like maybe you don't make the Explorer Warriors if you're a mage main, I guess, but that's like the only thing that you can really skimp on. Other times, if you're trying to min-max, you just need to make all of them, basically.
Yeah.
Is it not worth it to make a level of Merc to 210? The Merc, if the Merc was 200, I would probably say that. The Merc is level 145. I think getting a Merc to level 3 is only second priority at best after an Evan at 210, and I would only advise that if you're trying to hit that 8k Legion. I think if you're trying to get up to 6k, just making every class and getting them all to 140 that's the way to go there, because you have enormous strength in numbers, right? You have 15 more characters you can make. If all of those just get to level 60, that's 900 levels right there.
Are there 40 classes total?
There are 47 now, I believe, but only the highest.
But can you only make 40?
No,
or
you can make
like the top 40 count. Or
yeah, you can make 52 characters. There's 47 classes, and the highest, out of all the characters that are at least level 60, the 40 highest levels will count towards your Legion level.
Gotcha. Okay.
So 15 slots available left. If you get them to 100, that's 1500 levels. That'll get you to 5.2 already. Like, you're really approaching 6.k pretty quickly at that point, right? And all the ones you have now, just 120 to 140 with some Zakum runs is pretty quick. And then before you know it, that 6k is there. If you want to push from 6 to 8, then I would basically go back to the list, go back to the links command, and just start from the top again and get those to the next bump. Either the next bump in, like, going from rank S to double S in the Legion board, or going from level 2 to level 3 link skill. Specifically for those that we talked about, like crit rate, experience, critical damage, those just same priority basically.
6 to 8 is a pretty big jump though, right?
Yeah, it is pretty jump because 140 is very simple. Getting every single character to 200, that's significantly more because you can't just pile on 12 more characters and get the easy levels. You have to level the characters that are already leveled up. That's when that max of 40 characters comes in.
Oh wait, yeah, it's actually you actually have to have them pretty much all of them 200.
Yes. You can be a little bit lower because you'll have a few characters a bit higher, but the average level of your Legion has to be 200. Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So like Terror Burns definitely help a lot. Mega Burns, having a few characters pass. And that's why those level 3 links also help, because in your brain you're like, oh, I'm just getting 10 extra levels. Well, they count towards your Legion level and they will make everything faster. So getting that level 3 link in. But I would typically I only advise it if you're going for 8k.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything 140, that's very doable for you. So how about the crit damage ones? Do you have those?
I don't think I do. I actually just looked recently, and I couldn't believe that it was actually some give you crit damage on Legion.
Yep, Hayato, Shade, and Jet.
Oh, Hayato, Shade, and Jet. Oh, Jet.
Yeah. Pathfinder and Bowmaster are together with the Marksman and for the Explorer link for the extra crit rate. So if you want to make the new character stronger, and that's why the crit rate is mentioned ahead of crit damage, because if you don't have your crit rate, then your crit damage doesn't apply. So crit damage is really good, but it's conditional. So Hayato, Shade, and Jet will, so at 140 give you 3% each, so that's up to 9% combined, and then the Kinesis is 4, but you have that one. And
that's
then
really big.
Yeah, and then those are typically people push these to 200 as well, because they go from 3% to 5% at level 200.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So those 3 is 15%. Yeah, terror burning, stuff like that people will look at those, especially if one of the characters is not liked. Jet is considered actually really fast and kind of enjoyable for people now, so people will kind of get that 1 to 200. Hayato is not loved by people as much. Shade is okay. It's kind of hit or miss. Some people think it's too boring. Some people really like it. It's kind of in between.
Have they changed it since release at all? Because I remember I played it on release and it was...
The Shade?
Yeah.
Not that much, I don't think. I thought it was very... you know?
Yeah, no, I thought so too.
Just like a sound effect. Says more than 100 words kind of thing. Yeah, so if you do manage to get those 3 to level 200 with the Kinesis, that's 19% critical damage you're looking at. With, of course, the added value of every time you get a higher rank, your piece gets a little bit bigger as well, so you cover more of the grid, and that, you have order and power in numbers there as well with that.
I heard somewhere that like 8% crit damage, because I was just thinking about like my gloves wise, is that it's like equivalent or so to like 3-line stat?
So the true answer that it depends on the balance, right? I think for most people, I think it's like equivalent or maybe even a little bit better. It's really good.
Wow. Okay. So
maybe for like archers who can stack up to like 200% crit damage, it won't scale as highly because it is additive. But yeah, it is really, really good. Once you get to like Abzo gloves, people definitely aim for. Yeah. Well, and you have like critical damage in Legion, it's 0.5% per block, right? So when you're looking at that, you're basically getting like 8% is like 16 blocks of Legion basically filled. Or if you get your one character from 140 to 200, you're essentially filling
4 blocks.
Yeah, 4 blocks plus the 5th of it covering an extra block basically.
Oh yeah.
So when another character is like, oh, you get 20 more stat, and then this one is like, you get 5 more spaces covered, it's like, oh, like priority wise, that paints it in a different light kind of thing. Okay, but yeah, as long as you go through the links command as like the general order, that will help you a lot. So one thing, so the Mihail for the knockback resistance, that one is a useful one for your bosses. And it's kind of like crack. Once you get that, you don't really go back.
Really?
Knockback resistance is really good. So either you go for the level 3 link and then get like a little bit of buff duration from just various sources, and then you pretty much have 100% uptime. You'll probably need that as a Kanna because you don't generally roll into buff duration. If you're like an Explorer Mage or something, you can get away with the level 2 Link, because once they get buff duration in their Legion and or in their inner ability, then you can pretty much get 100% uptime with just level 2, but you won't be quite that lucky. So that's why Mihail is typically also pretty high on the rank of Terra Burn, because a lot of people don't really care too much for Mihail either, but the level 3 Link gives a huge amount of utility. Yeah, and then the Explorer skills were the other things we're looking at, right? For the immunity for death on respawn. For the bossing utility is very useful for the Link skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that, just anything that gives boss an IED, and then, anything beyond that is just min-maxing. Like, you're looking at intellect and stuff like that, just a little bit of stat, but those, like the yellow and the blue and the green ones, like that's the important ones, with knockback immunity, the only one here in green, I guess.
Yeah.
Healing is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
So it's mainly like the yellow and the blue ones, that's what you're looking at, so if you see any class in there, like the top, but yeah, that does mean that's like the top 36, 34 classes or something that are all pretty damn useful for you. So
yeah,
once you're done with that, you basically have like 4 or 5 slots left, and then you just put in some intellect characters, and then you're done.
Yeah, then there's 6K. How many do I have? Characters. Let me check. I have 25. Okay.
25. So. Yeah. Honestly, if you just make one character a day and just get it to level 60 or something, that's not too much time. But then when you think about it, in 2 weeks, that means you're at 40, and then you can 14 times 60 is what, 600 to 840 levels or something. One more is 900, and then ready 4.6. Then 5 is soon.
Yeah, if I get everything 140, it looks like I should get 6K.
Yeah, you've got some 200s, you got a 235, so I think that's enough over to get the 6. Yeah, and if you don't get it, just 1 or 2 characters leveling up a bit should do it.
Yeah,
and then you have the
120, full. So pop those up.
Exactly, and then you have your full grid, and then you can really start min-maxing on the sides. Probably the IED will get more and more useful, and the critical rate might be necessary. We'll look into that in a little bit, because crit rate and IED. That's the main things for Kanna to look at, is ID, crit rate, and the knockback resistance. Like, those are pretty big. If you can make those work in your Legion and Lynx and your hyperstats and a little bit in your Matrix, with decent sharp eyes, if you can make that work, if you make the rest of your account work for that part, your Kanna does the rest. And then, that fits together perfectly and just gets you there. Okay, so for Legion, that takes care of that. So Lynx is, that's just gonna follow, right, if you get access to more of these. So this is your bossing setup?
Yeah, that's my bossing setup.
Okay, and have you ever calculated your functional IED that gets you to?
I don't think I have. So, wait, the number that they give me is, like, when I have on my familiar, it's like 89% or something.
So visual in your set window, you mean?
Yeah, so what's the difference between visual and functional?
So visual basically is the game tells you, regardless of what skill you use and regardless of what target you use, this is how much ID you will get.
Okay, so it doesn't take into account my, like 20% for my...
Yeah, it doesn't take skill-specific, like skill-specific boosts, and target-specific boosts are not taken into account. So if you debuff a boss, they can't take that into account because they don't know what you're going to hit, right? And which skill you're going to hit, they don't know that either. So you kind of have to calculate that yourself. So yeah, if all your skills are 40 and plus, then 20% IED is just always going to be there because all of your skills will be boosted. So that means that you functionally actually have 20% higher. And then you have the Explorer Mage Link, for example, that will debuff the boss for 9%, which will also always be active when you're bossing, and that's the only time when IED is even remotely necessary. You're not going to be mobbing with that, so you can count the 9% extra there as well. I don't think you have any other passive boosts or giant boss debuffs that give you more IED as a Kanna, if I'm correct, which is the main problem why they're kind of starved for IED.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So for 89 visual, that is rounded, but if you roughly take that, do you know how ID is calculated and everything?
Like how much damage I do to boss, or
yeah, like with PDR, IED, and like adding a line, how much that affects the whole calculation kind of thing.
Yeah, I think isn't it just like 89% of like 300, and then like let me see. So if I've 89% and then 300, so 267. So I do like 33% reduced damage to a boss. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the easiest way to calculate would be like 89 is 11 short of 100. 300 is 3 times 100, so 3 times 11, 33 reduction.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So you deal 67% of your final damage on a 300 if the visual was optimal. But so if you add a line of 20%, do you know how much that makes your ID go up?
No.
So,
not too much, right? Like
yes, it's exactly, yeah. So basically, the easiest way to look at it, if you're trying to eyeball it, is whatever percentage line you add, you get that percent of how much you're missing to get to 100.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So you get 20% of the 11 missing, which is, what is it?
So it's like almost 2%.
Yep. Yes, 2. So of the 11%, so that's 2.2, which is not too bad. That would get you to 91.2, right?
Yeah.
And then at 91.2, we add the 9%. 9% of the 91.2, so that you're missing 8.8. So 9% of 8.8 is like, what, 0.79 or something, like 0.8. So then you end up at like 92 functional, which is not bad. It's a little on the low side for 300% PDR bosses because you're still getting about 8%, you know, so 24% damage reduction. So you're at like a 76% of your final damage. But it does mean that if you just look at your visual, it seems like you're doing 66% of your final damage, but you're actually doing 76%.
Gotcha.
Which is not even 10% more because it's 10% more of 66. So it's more like 50%, like 13% more or something, right?
Yeah.
But that also means that if you add some kind of huge source of IED, like a 40% line when you're already at 92, which means that gives you 3.2% more, which means that your damage reduction goes down by another 10%. Because the boss has 300% PDR, that means that 1% increase in functional IED gives you 3% more final damage based on 100, not even based on what you have. So that's why IED is very, very, very useful. Specifically if you're bossing. Not a high focus, of course, if you're mobbing on your Kanna, you don't give a fuck about IED at all. But once you are bossing with it and you do want to do damage and maybe, you know, you do want to keep duoing as many bosses as possible with your friend, both of you have to really work on IED. And the added difficulty is that you can't get any IED from your secondary. Some people can, like, you know, happen to roll on their secondary some IED and then they can get by with that for a little bit. You can't do that because that doesn't count.
Yeah, on my fan, so I had 2-line IED. It was like 35 for both, and then I had a crit line, which is like useless, or not useless, but not ideal. And then I rolled a 35 boss, 10 crit, and 30% ID. And yeah, I chose the boss one. Was that a mistake, do you think?
So
I think visual, visual, with this line, or with the 2 ID lines, it was 93. So it's even, I guess, higher than that. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think would have been better, the boss or the ID?
Well, so now we calculated functionally, you have around 92, right? So if you had the extra 30%, was it a 35%?
Yeah, 35% boss.
No, now you have 35, and before it was 35 ID, or was it 30?
It was 35 ID, 35 ID, so 70 total. And now it's just 30.
Yeah, so if you throw it into calculate, well, there's calculators for this. We can probably big brain this. So 92, if you remove a source of 30, which is like around 3% when you're at the 90 park, so you probably drop back down to like a functional of 89, a little bit below 89 without it, but then you add 2 lines of 35, then your functional ends up being probably 92 and a half, and then like a third of the 7.5, so 2.5. So you end up with like 95 or something. Which, you know, do you know how to keep track of like how much you're aiming for?
No.
Have you seen this progression grid?
Let me see. Oh yeah, wait, I've seen the progression grid. Let me check. Okay, so yeah, I'm in N late or not N, definitely not N. I'm in late,
Almost.
like late, or early mid late, I guess. But yeah, 92 through 95 functional. Okay, yeah, so I'm like lower end of functional right now.
So if you had those two lines, you'd be like right at that late cusp, which, you know, when it comes to the ID calculations would be perfect. The thing is, though, you ideally don't want two lines of 35 on your weapon, right? You want to have sources of IED. You want to have as much IED as you need, maybe even a little bit more, but you want it to go at the expense of as little other damage as possible. So if it's on your I don't know if you have the 7-day monster Parker badge.
I do not know.
Like on that one, it's ideal to get it. It's a 10% ID line. It's not that much, but 10% ID is significant enough, and it only goes at the expense of like a little bit of stat, and then that's it. So that's like a no-brainer. Have to get that. On your familiars, there's nothing else that you can really get that gives you any significant damage at this point. So you get it on your familiars, no-brainer. But once it comes to your WSE, the opportunity cost becomes way higher, right? Because what if you get a line of boss? What if you get a line of magic attack instead? That will like completely change up your whole stat. So probably like overall, your current potential, I think, is a safer, better bet, a more balanced bet. The ideal thing, of course, would be to have like two lines of magic attack and a line of boss, probably, and then have one line of IED on your emblem. Is typically where people get it. And that's
okay, yeah, I have a line of IED on my emblem.
It's a 12. Yeah, your emblem is perfect like this. We're not going to touch that at all. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled out really early, and I was very excited. I think it's my first pot, and I like randomly got off like 2 red cubes, and I was like, wow. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Well, sometimes life gives you, I guess, mangoes. What are the positive the positive fruits? Oranges?
I'd say mango is a positive fruit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that analogy worked then, I guess. I love me some good mangoes. Hell yeah. Yeah. So the weapon is at this point just kind of like a touch and go, feeling out like what do I need kind of thing, which is okay. Because as long as you're not super dedicated, like let's say you hit I don't know, let's say you hit the boss, the ID, and like 12% magic attack or something, then it's definitely like really good. But you know that also it's like it's going to be difficult to roll over that, but you know you have to eventually. That's always kind of like, do you have your Haku fan here as well?
Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, let me send you a picture of that. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's all in its own in its own little world and its own little tab out in the side. So you have just to clarify, you have 2 ID familiars with 15%?
No, I only have 1.
Okay. You definitely want to get the second one there. That'll be for bossing. That'll be high priority.
Yeah, I've opened a ton of those familiars. I try to grind them on my 200-ish characters, just at Fest 2. But yeah, I've opened like a couple hundred.
Because like the grand picture is that we get your Legion bigger, we fill out the ID more, we add the ID familiar, and then we can roll out of the ID on your weapon without losing too much functional ID, basically. That's the goal. And then we add some other stuff, right? Like the Ghost Ship Exorcist badge. I don't know if your ambition is leveled 100 yet. That will get you a little bit more ID. So like all of those other sources will come trickling in, and then they will take the weight off of your weapon, and then your weapon can go hard on damage and boss damage, basically.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Your secondary fan.
Yes, I'm sending that to you right now, actually.
Yep.
Oh yeah, about my familiar. I have an epic one with like a bad line. Do you think it's better to just level a rare one to epic and get a potential, or do you think it's like okay to level a epic one to unique and like go for the, is it like 40% chance to tier up or something?
Well, the problem is that it has to be the same type of familiar, and you don't want to like slow down your progress too much. So usually in the beginning, if you have a little bit of something with drop rate, a little bit of something with healing, and you have your ID familiars, you're pretty much golden, and you could just extract everything else, and then use the extracted points either to refresh your energy if you need to, or to get a booster pack to get for a small chance of some rare stuff. And by rare stuff, I mean sometimes there's epics there, and sometimes there's some that you need for badges, and then you can free up some badges faster.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and then when you get to Moonbridge and up and you start training there, and while training you just get a fuck ton of familiars, then you can hard send on epic and unique, and because then you're going to be in the same area for a long ass time, so then you'll have stacks and stacks of them to throw on. So until then I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Okay. Do you get familiars in Arcane River at all?
So only Tenebris, so Moonbridge, Labyrinth, and Limina for now. Yep.
That is 250 area, right?
Moonbridge is 245, and then Lab 250, and Limina 255. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
But typically you stay around until around 250. You stay in Arcana, yeah. Or maybe Celis at this point. I'm not 100% sure.
There's a couple good maps in Espera that seemed decent.
Yeah, MTS 234, I think, are pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those all seem good.
Spider maps, yeah. Kind of depends on which droplets you want to get, and that kind of stuff, and how full the other maps are. If you're getting bullied out of Arcana by all the botters, then Okay, so your weapon is 17, and do you have a flame with some magic attack as well?
Yeah, I think it's tier 5.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Seems pretty good. Yeah, the 4% damage doesn't help, of course, but the...
Yeah, actually. See, it is...
I feel like the 10% ID passive effect on a weapon should work or something, to give it like a little bit of value for Kanna's, but...
Yeah, it does not though, right?
No, doesn't know. It's all grayed out. The minus 25 levels works, I guess, on the flame. So you could equip it at 125, but...
Yeah, no, it's 66 mats, so I think that's tier 5, right?
Yes, I do believe. Yeah, I do believe so, yeah. Okay.
Would you recommend flaming that at all for like a tier 6?
I think eventually what's going to happen is you're probably going to get into territory of being able to make a second Absolab, and then you just transfer hammer this into that and then reflame it.
I have to repot it though too, right?
Yeah, you do have to repot it, yeah. It's a bit unfortunate, but I think that'd be worth it. The other thing is, if you happen into Arcane faster, through drops, through farming, through event shops, and you switch into the Arcane weapon as your main, then you can just drop down the current Abzo in there, but you'll have to repot that one as well. Because, the current pot on your secondary wouldn't be quite that good. Basically make one of those fake Zolab weapons that doesn't really get you there.
Having an Arcane fan would be worth over like the 30% boss and all that for like the set effect.
The base is insane on the Arcane, and what people would do if they only go into Arcane and nothing else is they switch the hats over. So you take a little bit of a loss in the CRA set, but then you make a bigger gain with the 30 boss, and then you might use one for mobbing, one for bossing, depending on if you want the boss. Or they would transfer hammer their CRA hat into the Abzo to immediately get higher star Abzo. Kind of depends on how close you are, because then once you do go full Arcane, then you switch back into the CRA hat typically, so that you have the 5 set with the weapon and all the other stuff, the shoes, the glove, the cape, the shoulder, the boots. I think I said shoes and boots there. But then with the CRA you get the 3 set back to get the weapon and the magic attack back.
Yeah, it's pretty far out though.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
Buying any of those droplets or not so much?
So yeah, as a your rates should be fine, and the amount of droplets you can get are better. Neo Shop is going to have 100 of each as well.
Oh wow, really?
So
Okay.
combined with that and the increased drop rate from bosses, I think it's more and more advisable to try to buy them out. Yeah.
Oh, looks like I gotta farm some mesas then off.
Yeah, it's 5 bill to buy out both the stacks.
Okay.
You do have until the 31st to buy those out, so it's almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it should
Is
be
the
doable.
Neo event?
Hmm?
That'll be like their next big event, right?
Neo, yeah, that'll be this summer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Then
has.
some down in between this spring.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to be in between, like the Goblin lunar effect, lunar event or something.
Mm.
Lunar Festival. Yeah, we're not sure what's coming 100%. Maybe some stuff from another server. Maybe Dark Lords of Darkness. Maybe Wondroid. You know, there's like a bunch of maybes.
Mm-hmm.
Lab. Yeah, some people are just hoping for wildly cool stuff.
I was gonna ask, does item drop rate, like on accessories and stuff, does that affect droplet drops?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. It affects like everything except for those boss equips that we talked about before. The only other thing I think it doesn't affect is like if you harvest flowers and veins. I think they have their own thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, yeah, just more drop rate's better. As long as it doesn't kill your kill speed, then more the better there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Legion's all set, link skills, and for mobbing you'll have other options to go into once you get the experience ones. But that'll make sense which ones are priority for mobbing and bossing, right?
Mm-hmm. I have a general question about my items.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the MP and the HP, is that what you're...
Yes, that was my question.
Yeah, I was gonna circle back to that for the big reveal. Yeah. So when people at home are like, that's interesting. Just wanted to make sure we got everything else, like all of the other basics, because that reflects as well on the piece placement in your Legion, right? Where you have HP and MP.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of intellect and magic attack there.
Mm.
I'd be surprised if you just like blew the meta open and people would be like, holy shit. But I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Because it's additive, right? Like the attack you get from all the HP.
Yeah, it's final magic attack as well, so it doesn't get multiplied by percentage magic attack either.
So like int flames, for example, like do those get affected by like potentials at all, or are those also just additive?
Int flames. Wait, how do you have a 5% all set chaos horntail necklace?
I don't know.
The fuck does that even? Wait, how does that even work?
Is that not supposed to be allowed?
I mean, that's like an eternal flame roll, then I guess, right?
No, it was just a drop.
What the fuck? It drops as a 5? Yeah, that's super fucking rare. Yeah, that doesn't happen usually. Yeah. So basically, what happens is like all of your intellect that is of the multipliable source goes into a giant pile. All of your percentage intellect goes into a giant pile, and then it multiplies basically. And then
the flames, do they add into that
that
pile?
Yeah, flames go into that pile. Things that don't go into is like the intellect from symbols, the intellect from your hyper stats, and then the intellect from member bonus in your Legion, for example. Like those all don't go into that pile. They get added as a flat amount later.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's the same with the magic attack from the calculation, is where, you know, all of the multipliable stuff in magic attack goes into a pile, or your magic attack goes into a percentage magic attack goes into one pile, multiplies, and then adds the flat amounts after that.
Yeah, no, I got pretty early on I got sucked into all this HP because it kept giving me plus range, and then
I'm sure if you have all of it together, it does end up being quite a bit, but there's probably a lot of room for more intellect instead, giving you way more.
Yeah, no, I have 5 pieces with HP lines. So yeah, and pretty much all my flames are also max HP MP.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stat.
Yep.
So yeah, I was just thinking of saving up mesos and just buying flames and cubes.
Yeah, have you used the flame calculator to kind of see where you're at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, most of them are terrible just because they're all.
Because the glove
HPM.
is like that's a piece of work.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's
Got like
so bad.
5,000 HP MP almost, and then 5 magic attack. It probably ends up being like a 50 or 60 flame score, probably, right?
Yeah, something around there. But yeah, definitely looking for. I want to be looking for over 100 on all those, right?
Over 100 is pretty. That's pretty optimistic this early on. Eventually, yeah, 100 plus on Nabzo stuff. But if you got something like between 80 and 90 for now, like that'll be a good keep, and then you can slowly work your way up.
Mm. And I have a pink bean cup. 88, but it's like minus 30k range or something. My current one's so bad, but I don't know. It's just it'll be like one big transition. I feel like I'll just have to drop like 20 bill.
Well, the main thing is, and this goes into like all of the HP and the MP, all of the intellect, all of the percentage all stat, is that how much something looks like it's better, if you look at the attack increase on the item, is very, very wonky. Because you have so many different sources right now, with the HP and the MP being way overrepresented. So what'll happen is once you start switching those out for more percentage intellect, the percentage intellect flames will proportionally become worth less, and the intellect cup will proportionally become worth way more. And the thing that ultimately takes care of that balance and makes sure that you can compare them properly is the flame score calculator, because that one doesn't look at how good is it for you right now, but once everything is settled in the different stages of the game, and like the numbers and the balance between these skills that you are moving towards, at that point, what will be the balance between the stats? So that's one that you can look at to be like, okay, do I need to keep these cups? Like for now, is this going to stay better, or is this other one going to get a lot better?
Yeah, I've definitely been keeping this cup just because it's like int wise the best one, or I guess flame score wise the best one.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've ever seen. But yeah, I'm just holding on to it until I make that big transition.
And that's what you want to look at. You want to look at the flame score for it.
Yeah.
And then you know that you're on track for, yeah.
And then for superiors, those you just kind of want to aim for like 32 stat, right? Like that's.
Yeah, non-flame advantage items, yeah, around there is fine. Okay. Yeah. Or yeah, 32 flame score, like technically, right? So if you do hit a little bit of combination of everything, then you can. Well, that's the beauty about Kanna flaming, is that you can get there with a bunch of other stats, so you have way more outs, especially on the lower numbers. But yeah, eventually, once you start rolling out of the HP and MP on the flames as like your main sources of that, then the percentage MP and the percentage HP will get way less valuable as well, and then switching those out with intellect will end up getting you way, way, way stronger.
Yeah.
And you'll start to notice that already, because you're past 17 stars now, so the amount of total intellect on your items is getting pretty nutty. Like everything has over 100. And then once those flames start kicking into overdrive, then yeah, that total plural, like your earring or something, you'll keep, right? Because the all stat, at least for now, right?
Yeah.
Because the all stat is already so close, and then adding all of that HP and MP together, like you're not gonna overflame that very quickly, and that's not worth the throwing flames at. Something like the glove, you'd have to throw it into the calculator, but I'm pretty sure that like a huge chunk of intellect will blow that out of the water. But yeah, they're kind of keeping each other strong. Like all of the percentage in HP is actually making disproportionately your current stats feel better than they are, and all of the the current stats that you have are making the HP and MP percentage potential also a little bit better than they actually should be. But
yeah, no.
So
I get a crazy amount of attack from all the HP.
Yeah, how much is that? Is it like 800 or something?
Let me see. It's one attack per 700. Oh, 526.
Yeah, if you look at your 520. Yeah, because my HP Kanna gets 569, but that's like full HP. It's like 400,000.
Yeah. Oh, do you have an HP Kanna too?
Yeah. Well,
That's
when I
hilarious.
saw it, at first I thought it was going to be like a full HP Kanna, like your main stat is also in HP.
No, I just happen to keep rolling all this.
Yeah, one thing I guess that'll be good to have is a little bit of a benchmark to see how much range one item gives, and when you switch it, it's probably not going to feel like that good of an upgrade. But once you fix all of them, your actual damage range in your stat window should go up quite a bit.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm like range wise, I'm a lot stronger than like 19k or whatever I am, 18k.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, you have like 5 apples active on top of what other people maybe have like 100 or 200 there, and you have like over 500. So you're basically got 300 magic attack on them, which for the flame score is like 900 stat worth. So that's almost like 1k stat extra.
Oh wow.
And then that would get multiplied. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, that doesn't mean it's bad at what you have now. I mean, it definitely got you to where you got, right? So
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely useful. But yeah, that's definitely something to look into to switch over.
Yeah.
So Star Force event was good. So you're pretty broke right now, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I actually I didn't have a single 17-star Abso equip. But yeah, I think I got like 8 things to 17. I was pretty excited about that. Except I boomed my gloves twice.
Ooh.
So yeah, I had to do those scrapyard weeklies again. It's not that.
Well, you didn't safeguard them to 17?
No. I had 4 cores. So I was like, if they boom, I'll just have to do them again.
And boom, they did.
Yeah, boom, they did twice.
Yeah, unlucky. I mean, I guess if you're doing 7 items and you're not safeguarding any, then there's a pretty good chance that one of them gets it.
Yeah, yeah. I thought at least one thing would boom, probably more, and yeah, it just happened to be the same item twice. So.
Yep. Yeah, it just feels like it was meant to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, overall, your stuff is pretty good. Flame is like, okay. Yeah, it's definitely like the flames on the Abzo is the next thing. Superior wise, where are you at with the full superior set?
I'm just waiting for the earring drop.
That gives you 4?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Ring, pendant. Just recently bought my pendant, actually, I think a couple days ago. I think last Wednesday. And then I used the 15-star scroll on that, and I got it to 17. And then I actually got after my gloves boomed, and I still had stuff to scroll, I just went to Helix, and then I got another soup drop, or another soup belt, so I just no safeguarded to 17.
Nice. Yeah, it saves you some money. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people like hard meso farm, and then they brute force their way with safeguarding, and then if you don't do that, you can brute force your way with item backups by not safeguarding, and then you get value in a different way, right?
Yeah, no, at first I was disappointed that they weren't earrings, but then I was like, wait a minute. I could just keep going. I was actually going for like 20, but then I just spent all my mesos and just hard stuck 17. But, okay.
Your trade is pretty ambitious, yeah.
Yeah.
For belts, I think even if you have backups for belts, if you have one backup, maybe you can try it, but generally you just go like ping bean belts and just go all the way and then just transfer it over, because you can get so many backups, right? Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
And you can do that with a lot of stuff, but it kind of depends on how good your potential and everything already is. Well, mainly your potential, right? Because you would have to redo that. If you end up with some crazy good potential, then you typically want to Star Force on the item. But if you get potential that's like okay but pretty manageable to re-roll, then going for the lower tier item and then just risking no boom on that, and then transferring over once it's the amount that you want, +1, I guess, because when you transfer you lose that one, and then you just transfer it over to the Abzo and redo it. That's like for the long road if you're like planning on upgrading to anywhere like 19, 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, have these the shaman earrings? Should I work on those? Like go for high stars and then transfer those to my hopefully incoming super earrings?
These are 130, right? So you'd have to...
They're 140.
Wait, which ones?
The shaman earrings.
Oh, you have shamans. Yeah, so what you could do is your current Will-O-the-Wisps, once you get the superior, you could transfer the Will-O-the-Wisps into the shaman and then the shaman into the superior, and you're done.
Okay, yeah.
And that way you can, salvage some of the cost. If they're epic, I would advise doing that. If they're already like unique or legendary, then just re-roll these for drop or mezzo, and then roll the other ones for damage, basically.
Yeah. No, this one's still on epic, so. Is it cheaper to do transfer from 130 to 140 and then 140 to 150? Or
it just saves you time, and it saves you already invested some money, so you could just transfer it over. There's no loss there, there's only upside.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because we don't have trade, we always look for those ways of preserving some of the already invested value, right? Oh shit, we're getting some gifted subs here.
Ooh,
thank you, Potato Maru. He's typing a lot of A's. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, dude. Yeah, the other thing is, so once the 30% of the Golok set comes in, Legion bigger, your hyper stats are probably already pretty much set to IED, and I don't think there's too much growth there.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing for? Oh yeah, and the extra familiar. Once all of those start coming in, and then it'll kind of depend on, if the Legion gets to 6k and you can fully fill that grid, then you can start re-rolling the weapon. And then that main magic attack roll there that'll be really, really sick because you're already at 17 star, right? So that means you get a lot of a lot of magic attack with everything combined. But then especially once you go above 17, the amount of stat that's going to get multiplied is the amount of attack that's going to get multiplied is going to be insane.
Yeah, no.
And that's when the massive magic attack lines, especially on your weapon because it's level 160 tier, are going to start counting very, very heavily.
Question for the face. What is this? Face accessory? What is there anything besides the power crystal that's good? Obviously the Sweetwater thing, but I can't transpose anything into that, right? It's just its own thing.
Into this one, the condensed power crystal?
No, transpose into the Sweetwater
monocle?
Mark. Or not the
monocle, sorry, the tattoo? Yeah. No. Yeah, no, there's nothing to transpose now.
And that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Gotcha. And those have no flame advantage, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
It's just for the potential is why people get it.
For potential, higher Star Force, so more stats from the Star Force, and if you're going really, really high, you do want to get those backups and get super high. Once you go past, so the potential is a higher tier, and the amount of stars, you can go further stars, and per star you get more stats because it's a higher level item. So all of that together, and typically if you get further as well, you start losing the full set bonus of the boss accessory set mainly, because all the other pieces get replaced as well. So there's no set bonus to hold on to anymore either.
Gotcha.
The only upgrade would be the Berserked, because of the base stats, and because it's also 160 and it's part of the pitch boss set. But yeah, of course that one is very rare, and
that's from Varicella, right?
No, that's the Source of Suffering. The pendant drops from Varicella. The Berserk drops from Lotus, Hard Lotus.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So Hard Damien has the magic eye patch, so that's the eye accessory, and then Lotus has the Berserk, which is the face accessory. And then Varicella has the pendant, Gloom has the ring, Darknell has earrings. Am I forgetting something? Oh yeah, Black Mage has the badge, Will has the book, and then Hard Lotus also has the damaged heart, which you can get a temporary heart from, which also fits into the set.
Is the
and the
black
belt
mage
from Lucid, yeah.
okay? Is the black mage pot or badge potable, or it's just like
Nope.
that?
Just
Oh.
paperweight, yeah. If you don't have a potential badge, then it's a big upgrade, of course, because you'll probably have one of the other pieces as well by that time. So just the 2 set bonus, I think, is already 10 all stat, 10 weapon magic attack, and 10% boss damage or something. So obviously that's like a huge buff, because you won't have any boss set accessory at that point. So that set bonus is quite nice.
I'll probably start working on pitch boss next week.
Yeah. Get those hard Lotus, hard Damien clears in.
Yeah, exactly. Can't be that much harder than normal, right?
No, yeah, it's only like 30 times the HP, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you're still heavily relying on the event rings now because of the HP and MP.
Yeah, I have a honest treasure that's 16 star, but yeah, it's nowhere near as good currently as the all the HP and MP and stuff that I get.
Exactly, because of your potentials.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once that ID comes in, can roll weapon for magic attack. Full, especially once you get the superior set bonus, then that 30% ID is going to be like the chunk you need to just completely roll out of it.
Yeah, that'll be pretty.
It does mean you lose 10% crit, so you do want to make sure that you have the safety net for that as well, right? So you get your crit back.
Yeah, I'll be able to spec into that in
your hyperstat?
Or maybe hyperstats, or whatever you need to do there.
Cool. Your potential seem fine otherwise. The other thing to work on would be the flames a bit on your Abzo.
Yeah, definitely the flames.
But the potentials are pretty good.
HP.
Yeah.
Lines.
Yeah,
I have so
exactly.
many. I would just randomly roll them, and I was like, wait, I can't just keep rolling over this for now. I'm kind of broke.
Yeah, if you're gonna, it's something. Yeah. It's like with flames as well. If you get like a big stack of HP and MP, it's like better than nothing. So, but you do eventually want to circle back and upgrade from that.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm thinking if there's any. Oh yeah, don't forget the Monster Parker badge. Work on that. You know how to get the extra coupons?
Yeah, just buy them, right?
Yeah, cash up.
Yeah.
7 runs a day. Yeah, once you start. Yeah, if you start wanting to push like past 17, that's when, again, like if the item has a really good pot, then just on the item, make sure you have backups. And then if it doesn't have that great pot, then just lower level item, mass send, high stars, transfer, redo pot, basically. But it's definitely solid to stay like at 17, legendary, at least 2 line, and then get good flames and be there. The next thing is going to be like getting all of the Golex accessories there, getting everything else up to 17. Probably the Sweetwater Iron Face, that kind of stuff. Then your total amount of Star Force, total amount of magic attack is going to get pretty crazy. And then once that's all settled and you want to push past that, that's when if you do know that you want to start doing that, then you just got to start building up backups.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can buy more than one. Can you buy more than one super ring?
Yeah, every week it resets. Yeah, Tuesday to Wednesday it resets that you can buy. There's 700 though, so it's not like.
Yeah, no, I'm at 60 coins right now. I just bought my. So yeah.
Well, with Superior you have so I guess we can shortly go over that. As like the closing, what the items would be that you can use. So for So ring-wise, what you can use for Superior is the Meister Ring, and transfer hammer that over. That's a little bit more mass-producible. Of course, you have to have enough primals and enough Grand Spell Essences. Twisted Times are usually okay, but the other two can be a little bit difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Those are typically the bottleneck. But yeah, typically end up with like a high star Meister and then a high Meister transferred into Superior, so that way you don't have to buy multiple Superiors. And honestly, at this point, even if you roll 33% int on a Superior, I probably still wouldn't like buy extra Superiors. It's just too expensive, takes too long. Because you can probably roll 30% in like a decent amount, and getting up to 21 stars gives you way more range increase than desperately clinging on to that 3% extra intellect. But yeah, that's just from my perspective. And then reinforced, Kanna treasure, solid are like the two strongest of that will fit the last 3 slots. You can do solid to 20, and then another solid to 20 transfer into the Kanna treasure, so you get 19 Kanna treasure without risking to boom up to 19. And you can technically also do that with reinforced. Though with reinforced, you probably just want to do it straight up. But the solid is kind of cheap, so you can go that route if you choose to. And if you end up at that point, you can, you can decide to push the reinforced to 20. If that works, maybe push the Kanna treasure, or push the reinforced to 21 to like solidify, And then once you have, let's say, 21 Meister, 20 Superior, 20 Solid, 21 Reinforced, at that point you could just be like, well, the Kanna is just rank 5 now. Either I try to go for 20 or 21, or I just, or it booms. It's whatever at that point. It's not like a high risk. If it does boom, you get to join a trace gang. If it does go up to 21, then your solid just becomes a drop rate ring at that point, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Or Mesa ring. Yeah. Pendants could be Dominators, transfer hammered in. Do you know about the transposing with the Dominators?
Transpose is Sweetwater, right?
Transpose at 16. Flame score between 105 and 115, typically.
Yeah, no, I don't know why, but I didn't do Arcarium prequest for literal months for some reason. Just did them the other week. So yeah, waiting on that Dom still.
Yeah, but those primals drop from him as well. That's why you want to incorporate that run.
He drops primals? Gotcha, okay.
So you want to harvest all the big flowers and the big veins, but you want to roll, you want to run normal arc every day. Very important.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can on multiple characters, because the primals are freely tradable. More characters you do it on, you're just increasing your chance of getting those primals, because they are very rare.
Is he pretty? I was just wondering how much HP he has. Okay, it's 13 bill.
Yeah, if your character is like okay funded and like in 5th job on like level 210 or something, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But he's got that really weird mechanic with the full map clear and everything. It's like,
Yeah,
ideally, just bind and burst.
Might be able to yeah, it's my DS.
Yeah, well, that would be a bind and burst class for sure. With some iframes built in, some major, just pop everything and just like blow them up kind of thing. They do plan to make the snakes in normal take physical damage soon, though, like within the next few months before Neo. So hopefully that goes through, and then non-magical classes can actually just kill it as well. I think DS has a few classes that hits through it. And Kanna, of course, deals magical damage, but some other classes might have trouble with getting rid of those little snake dudes.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I just saw in chat a Tower of Oz expert emblem. How do you get that? Obviously it's like time.
Yeah,
but
I think it depends on what rank you get in Tower of Oz.
Okay.
Yeah, those stats are really good, of course. But yeah, you have to rank very highly, and then you only get it for that week, I believe. And then yeah, at the end of the week, the stats go away. And then you
would you
have to
recommend
earn it again.
I start doing Tower of Oz, just like maybe for like the rings and stuff, or is it like not that big of a deal right now?
I wouldn't put it as a right now. If you like doing that content, then by all means do it. Because I mean, if you're having fun while playing this game, you're gonna be playing it longer, and you just enjoy your time. If that's something you want to do, then make time for that. When it comes to optimizing your damage, the rings are huge, but it's probably once you're like approaching 20 stars and everything, and you're pretty much going like 2.5 to 3 line potential and everything, and your flames are pretty much done. At that point, running Oz is like a huge improvement, because the improvement will get multiplied by so much more, because you have so much more stat to work with, and compared to how expensive all the upgrades are, then at that point the Oz rings actually become really good next step upgrade.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely do it if you enjoy it. If you enjoy running that.
Yeah, I'll run it every couple days. Pretty fun, I think.
And you can run it as a party as well with your friend.
Doesn't it kick you out after like floor 8 or something?
I don't know exactly. There's like some things you have to do alone, and then some things you have to do have to do together. But you know, you can alternate Kishin with your buddy.
Okay, yeah.
It'd be a fun thing. You know, you don't want to, you know, get like shackled or like
Yeah,
get conjoined at the waist for everything. Of course, you know, you gotta have your own hobbies, as they say. But you know,
yeah, exactly.
it is something you can do. Yeah, I don't know the exact details with like the partying, if it like breaks you up or puts you back together in a map or something. So yeah, to really to quickly go for, so if you do want to go for high, let's say that you get the arcane weapon and go for you want to go high Abzo on your Haku, then you can just do high Fafnir transfer hammer over. For the belt, Bing Bean belt. For the hat, you typically just, for the hat and the top and the bottom, you basically always do it on those items because, you know, you'll have so many backups from doing CRA a lot. So at that point, you don't want to, you'll actually lose out on value if you do like a 140 because you'll have to go 1 star higher, which is always more expensive than how much cheaper it is to Star Force at the lower level item.
Yeah, no, there's so many essences in my
inventory. Exactly. Yeah, you'll be glad to finally, and again, we talked about that before, right? You get to finally use the value of them by not having to safeguard, and that's and by going on the items, so that way you can finally turn that inventory space into some value.
Yeah.
Iron Face is just like on the items themselves, Sweetwater, so that's a lot of dineros, a lot of backups there. And then for shoes, the Ram, basically for all the other pieces, you have the Ranmaru pieces drop like crazy now. So
yeah,
it's mainly that. And then for the earring, it's typically the reinforced earring will drop at an okay rate. So either reinforced or multiple superior, whatever you end up with.
Oh yeah, I actually got a reinforced.
Yeah. Well, for now, you could just use the shaman earrings as a transfer in between, but you can keep your reinforced for later. That whenever there's a 5, 10, 15 or something, and you know you have money and you get a reinforced at 21, then boom, you have a 20 superior immediately.
Okay, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, heart. You know, hope for one droid.
Please,
metal.
one droid, please. So this Sengoku didn't give us a potable badge, right?
So the event, the Sengoku High, is like pretty much like a near 0% chance of ever coming back. And if it does come back, there's like a near 0% that it even has the potable badges. I have the maps saved from the previous event, and that map is just no longer accessible. It seems to be completely removed from the game, so it's not a doesn't seem a thing. The event we had was technically called Asura War, so they like renamed it there as well. It was of course, you know, in the Sengoku era, and it was like JMS stuff, but yeah, they try to make it as distant from that as possible so nobody got any weird ideas, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
You can
I was planning on playing that one after the Celestial, and then I heard there was probably no potable badge, so I took a little break until for like mid, or actually no, I did the first Terror Burning, so yeah, I started back up in this Awake vent.
Yeah, people are still holding out hope. I think some people are holding out a little bit too much hope, but I mean, yeah, if it ever comes back, you'll hear about it immediately, but don't count on it.
Yeah, is one droid probably same type deal?
Yeah, it seems like they keep 1 year in between, so it might be another year until we get it.
Okay.
But they seem to want to always make a new season when they do release it. They don't want to just re-release it. They want to add a little bit of storyline to it. So it might just take a while for that to get done.
Gotcha.
Yeah, badge stays same. Metal is emblem is completely done, and then the ghost ship.
Yeah.
Sorry, piece of apple. The Monster Parker metal would be a good upgrade.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, very close to that superior. Those two, that IED, all of that back, more magic attack on a weapon, and then all of those pots into HP, MP into intellect, and the flames fixed on the Abzo, you'll get a bunch of extra damage. Those nodes and crafting the node sodes, I think that's gonna help you a lot. Yeah, don't take a hit too hard, you know, initially in the skills by going like all the way down to 30 or something if you redo too much, but just like find that set of 6, you know?
Yeah.
And then once you have that, you can get rid of all the other ones that are not those starting 6. Yeah, then if you can make sure that all of them get up to level 15 plus, then, you know, it basically means that you can have at least 40, and then you don't lose the IED there from the buff.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty big.
Yeah, we talked about priority for the links. 1 extra 15% IED. Familiar will be huge. Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, should be good. Answered all my questions and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wish you best of luck.
Yeah. No. Thanks so much for doing this. It was super awesome.
Yeah. No problem.
Helped me a lot.
Good. Well, put it to work and but keep enjoying it. If you want to do Oz, then just fuck everything what I said and just go do Oz, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Otherwise, it shouldn't be like an endless chore. If you want to enjoy Oz, you just go ahead and do it. Even if you get no rings. If you get one of those crazy rings, you can probably skip upgrading one ring for a while. If you like switch between the other ones, but it's limited use, so.
Yeah.
So
it's
unlucky.
Like 15 seconds, like 100 something cooldown.
Yeah, so people get like 3 really good slots, and then you just cycle a bunch of Oz rings in the 4th slot instead, something like that.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, that's for a little bit later from now.
Yeah, much later, I would think.
All right. Well,
focus on what's in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Think about the event store and what you want to do there for the droplets and everything. But other than that, just I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you around.
All right. Thanks, Scardor.
Yep.
You have a good one.
No problem. Have a good one. Bye.
Later.
All right. Yeah, went a little bit long again. I want to get through everything. I'd rather go like fucking 20 minutes long, but make sure that I covered everything than like cut people off and be like, nope, this time's up. I don't want to be that guy. Who gave the subs? Potato Maru, thank you so much for the gifted subs, my dude. Appreciate it very much. Big zoom in kiss for you. Yes, so knockback resistance, IED, critical rate, very important. His critical rate, I think, is on point. I didn't see a screenshot of his stat window. I should have asked that, actually. But he knows he needs to get to... He said he was at 100, so, take him at his word for that. Yeah, critical rate, IED. IED we calculated, we talked about. The natural progression for the IED seems fine. And then the knockback resistance with the Mihal skill will... Dude, it's going to be like when you switch from one monitor to 2 monitors on your computer, and you're like, how did I survive with only one? This is crazy. You could just have so much more stuff going at the same time. How did I even survive on one? This is just nuts. And you could just never go back, basically, is the big problem. You can only go forward into 3 and 4 and 5. Once you start wall mounting your monitors, that's when you got to make sure that you don't have like an actual problem. But it's a different conversation. So yeah, if this was helpful for you guys, for new Kannas, or for people who are in a similar level of similar area of upgrading, I'm glad. Make sure you check the description of the video if you want a session like this as well. Hit me up through while following the instructions. If you have data to contribute to my big grid that everyone can see, check the description. You can add information like your battle analysis, monster skill per hour, and training videos in Moonbridge and up. All of that input is very, very welcome, and I will disseminate that to the players so everyone can look at it and get an idea of what the classes are like later on in the game, so they can make a decision. Because this is a marathon, not a sprint, so you want to make sure that you pick something that you hopefully will still enjoy in a while. If you don't, you can still switch in the beginning, and it's not that big of a deal. But switching once you past 250, that can set you back quite a bit, especially with these boys over here, these arcane symbols. These having to restart that is never a great thing. So yeah, check the links in the description for extra information, and I'll see you guys